What is up, Lions fans? It's Ian Langston here today, and today I'm going to give my last video. I got my missionary news and my missionary tag. I will not be reacting to the Dallas or Miami games, or really any news for that matter. This is my last video. It was great having this last special time with you guys, but now I just got to focus purely on what is left for me ahead. But today I'm going to give you guys one last video on why Brad Holmes should not be getting as much blame as he is for the defense or for our record. Let's get this going. Matt Patricia gave us less than normal talent in a rebuild. Generally, in a rebuild, you maybe get someone. Like, for example, the Panthers in their rebuild are going to get, like, Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey. Something to work with. The Lions, when Dan Campbell and Matt Patricia came in, offensively and defensively, our talent was Romeo Okwara, who's had really one great season, DeAndre Swift, who's coming off a promising rookie year, but not really that crazy, and Tracy Walker, who was coming off a down year, and an injured Jeff Okudah. That is what they gave us. That is the only players that was talented on our roster. It really just isn't much, if anything. At least maybe you get like a QB, like something. That we got literally nothing. Defense also wasn't the only problem. Jared Goff was unproven, had a small sample size. Josh Reynolds only put up 3 solid games. He wasn't a proven receiver 2 or receiver 3 for that matter. DJ Chark was injury prone, and so was Hawk. Both Hawk and Chark were unproven as well. The entire line was coming off injury. Swift was coming off a down year last season. Ben Johnson was also unproven. Even Amon-Ra St. Brown, our superstar receiver, had only a small sample size as being as elite as he is. He was unproven. Our offense was still ranked 25th in the NFL. There was just so many things. We didn't even have a true receiver 1, even when we added DJ Chark. It just was a lot of unprovenness to us. Defense didn't even seem as big of an issue last year like it does right now. It held 5 teams to less than 20 points allowed. Improved from 32nd to 31st, so they looked like the team was at least improving. Defense allowed 26.5 points per game last season, which would have been 29th, not 32nd. Defense also had a little bit of late season surge once Campbell took play calling duties and the offense improved, not putting him in as many bad situations, to only allowing 24.7 points per game, which would improve the defense to 27th. Now, of course, these are not good rankings, but they are vastly better than 32nd in allowing 30 points per game or more. And just for reference, in those 2 different totals, if we had last season's total of points per game, we would be 3-2. If we had the late season surge total, we'd be 3-1-1, possibly even actually 4-1. It's a bit hard to justify and say, hey, this is a Brad Holmes issue, when it really didn't seem like that big of an issue, especially when the team also wasn't purely ignored. Aiden Hutchinson was added. Josh Pascal was added. Granted, Pascal's hurt. Kirby Joseph was added. Rodrigo was added. John Kaminsky was added for depth. Isaiah Buggs was added for depth. You added prove-it players to Sean Elliott and Mike Hughes, who were both generally okay starters. The team was banking on injured players coming back, such as Jerry Jacobs, Romeo Okwara, Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pascal, Jeff Okudah. All were supposed to return, and hopefully were supposed to make an impact. And, as I mentioned in the last spot, there were injuries. Josh Pascal is yet to return. Levi Onwuzurike got hurt in training camp. Romeo Okwara is still hurt and may not even return this season. Jerry Jacobs is possibly going to be returning this week along with Pascal, but is yet to play. And John Kaminsky got injured week 1. Or no, it was week 2. Tracy Walker was injured for the season. Also came out of nowhere, and he was a leader in our defense. It's not something that Brad Holmes was going to be able to control. And yes, players got hurt. It's unlucky, but that's not something a GM intends. Players also regressed. This was also a really big thing. As I talked about earlier, the defense improved from 32nd to 31st and had a late season improvement. It was obvious that the team was looking like it was going to be able to develop and get better, especially adding in a number 2 overall pick, Aiden Hutchinson, adding in depth, getting players back. It looked like it maybe would be at least a top 25 defense and could be manageable. Lance clearly banked on Players such as Amani O, Charles Harris, Mike Hughes, Levi O, Julian Okwara, they're all expected to grow and develop, either when they came back or on the field. None of them did. In fact, many of them took huge regressions. Charles Harris has been one of the worst pass rushers after coming off a 7.5 sack season and 50-plus pressure season. Amani O is not even getting his Lucky Charms interceptions and allowing big catches and all that jazz. There's been no growth among the players that were supposed to bring growth and at least respected to put in. Mike Hughes, who's never been that great of a corner but was always at least an okay slot corner, is having a career worst year. Lots of vets have even taken a step back. Maybe it's because of the 4-2-5 defense. There isn't fits from some old players that had some help earlier. Young guys didn't even develop, such as Aiden Hutchinson, who's even stopped using moves such as his counter rip move. Elliott has regressed majorly. The only player who's really done any improvement is Elaine McNeil, and he's a nose tackle. He didn't make an insane amount of improvement. Also, the new scheme is also probably a bigger factor. When you have a lot of the same players that are adding them to a team, when that was 31st and was way better than it currently was, you would think you'd get better after draft picks, especially since those guys are improvements from last year. So what's the issue? Well, as answers that I said in the earlier videos, players don't seem to be put into their strengths in the situation, such as Hutch not being in a 2-point stance, or the defense always playing blitz or man, or not disguising their defenses. Offense is also doing much better this year, not putting the defense on the field as much as well. So you can't even excuse it as like last year where we are taking some heat, but you could also excuse it saying, okay, maybe it's not this bad because, the offense was always out there all the time, forcing them to be out there. That's not the case this time. Now, does this mean that Brad Holmes has been perfect in adding players? No, Levi Muzurike injured. He's not had a 100% success rate. Does this also mean that the players are to be given a pass and that the coaches are at fault? No, of course. But right now, the coaches are not putting themselves in a situation to help their players succeed at the best playing, and it's clearly not the GM's fault for somehow not seeing that somehow the defense would regress after investing into some players. In the end, I think Lions fans should stop investing into Brad Holmes. Alright, this is the end of my video. Thank you guys for watching my channel. It was an amazing thing that I've been able to do, and I can't wait to get back to on my mission. I love you guys all. Thank you guys for watching the analytics tank. Go Lions! I hope you guys have a late season surge when I return.